welcome all of you in the room. Good morning, and well, thank you very much for coming. And before I officially ask our Dean of the Faculty, Professor Santana, to officially open the session, I would just like to say just a couple of words. And first of all, I would like to say that we thank very much our colleagues here in physics and in chemistry that actually have been involved since the early beginning in this proposal that ended up as RaBBiT. But also, I must stress the relevance of our international partners. They are a key point in this program. So, Kevin Price from Queen's University, Belfast, then Samuel Eden from the Open University, together with Jimena Delfinkel and initially Nigel Mason. Then we have Gustavo Garcia from CSIC in Madrid, and also Stefan Danifel from the University of Innsbruck. Of course, I have to mention also our external supervisory committee that Steve Bachman from the Australian National University that actually made an effort to come all the way from Australia and still struggling with jet lag. Then, well, David Field from Aarhus University in Denmark, and of course Eugen Millenberger from the Free University in Berlin. And last but not least, of course, I would like in this public session to say that we're deeply thankful to our Dean, Professor Fernando Santana, because since the first early beginning that we came across him with this idea about this proposal, his first reaction was, yes, go ahead, pushed us. He encouraged, he has been always committed, and so of course the success now of this program, and in particular of our students, is definitely the success of the school, and of course you, with your help and with your commitment, as I say, it will be possible to reach this stage. And finally, well, I thank, as I said a while ago, so I thank all of you, and now it's your turn, please. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning. Just very brief words, but I would like to greet all the colleagues here and allow me to do it in a very special way to the colleagues that from abroad that have been so kind to be with us in this opening session. Thank you so much for being here. We are pretty honored with your presence. I would like also to greet in a special way our Vice Rector for Research, our colleague here from our school, Professor João Crespo, is here with us, the Vice Dean of the Faculty, and the coordinators of this program, Professor Limão Vieira, Professor Pedro Tavares, and Professor Alice Pereira. I'm very pleased to be here in this opening session, because in my view, from this session we can read several aspects about research and the way things are moving also in our country and also in our universities. Indeed, with these doctoral programs, I think our country and again our universities have caught up in a certain way with different paradigms and models that were already done in other universities. I think this is the right way to have these doctoral programs with the right support to have good performance and good outputs afterwards. Is now differently from what we had before in this Anglo-Saxonic model of having doctorates in a different way. So this is one aspect that I would like to keep from this session. Indeed, this is a strong indication that things are changing and that universities are now corresponding better to what the country and the research, international research is ready or is expecting from them. Our universities, they have also improved quite a lot in several indicators, and now I think we have the conditions to do these things differently and in a better way. The other aspect that I would like to to refer here, above all, is the initiative of our colleagues at the school that has provided this idea of having a new program in radiation, biology and biophysics with a very nice acronyms, RaBBiT. I like it. To be. It is quite important to notice this because none of them had to do this program or to have this initiative. This started from them, and they have done a very large effort to put up this program. So I would like, on behalf of the school, to thank you for your initiative. And this is something that is important for our school. And indeed, if we have the program, it's because you have worked on it, you have the idea that you have worked, and this really makes the difference. So I would like to, again, to thank you very much, Paulo Milão, Pedro Tavares, Luís Pereira, and all the other colleagues that have also contributed for the program. So, on behalf of the school, thank you for this. I wish you the best luck for the program. And as far as I can see from the conditions that have already been set up for the doctoral program, I think we will have in the near future something that is really good for our school. As you know, yesterday we had with us, we had the honor also to have with us the Nobel Prize Professor Robert Huber. He was here for a talk. He's a very kind man. And I was talking to him, and he told me about his trips to China, where he has to give talks to 2,000 people or so. I said, well, it's something. And I asked him, have you any problems at the end with pictures? Because Chinese people like Japanese as well to have pictures. He said, no, the problem is not pictures, is that they want to touch me. So, my dear Paul, take care. People in the future will. Thank you very much, and have a nice day and a nice work in this session. And I wish the best for the program, which I am sure you will reach. Thank you. No, it's not in front of me.
Okay, so we have to start because we are already slightly running behind schedule, and our first talk of this morning. So I have asked Professor João Crespo, who is the Vice Rector of the University, and he's in charge of the Nova Doctoral School, and his talk will be definitely about this challenge project.
Yes. So thank you so much for the invitation. It's really a pleasure to be here with you today, and a little bit to share with you which has been our experience in terms of doctoral education at Nova. And specifically when I was talking with Paulo, Pedro and Alice, we discussed a little bit the possibility to share with you the reasons why we decided to create a doctoral school at this university, and what kind of model we follow and why, and what has been the reaction of the students. I'm really pleased to see that we have students here today. So I'm sure that some of you had already the experience of the doctoral school, so I think you can tell probably much more than I can. I'll take maybe just 1 minute before really going to the issue to very briefly introduce to you the university as a whole, because the doctoral school that we are discussing about is a doctoral school for the whole university, not just for this school. Now what happens is that this university is extremely diverse in terms of the scientific areas that it covers, but it's also extremely diverse geographically. It's very much spread around. So we have 9 units, let's say 9 faculties, schools or institutes, but we have 9 schools and 7 campuses, so you can see how a little bit fractionated we are and how spread we are. And we thought that in some cases we can get some advantages from that, but in many situations the student does not have a perception of the university as a whole, and on the other hand, in many cases, the student has not a chance to contact with students from other areas of knowledge, which is a pity. So this is something that we should take into consideration. So we are around 19,000 students, and this school of Science and Engineering is by far the largest, with around 8,000–9,000 students. And if you see a little bit in the map, we are completely spread around several campuses in Lisbon, here in Caparica, also in Oeiras, and the plan for a future campus from the business school. Thank you. From the business school far away a little bit in Carcavel. So that means that we are really spread around. The other point that I want to show you a little bit, it's the fact that we have a relatively high number of students that are coming in or going out for Erasmus programs. So the university tends to become more and more international. So this figure is not small. It is a significant one. And if we look a little bit to the complete number of foreign students that are enrolled, we have not only the Erasmus exchange, but also we have a significant number of students, foreign students in doctorate programs. We have around 1,900 PhD students, and from those we have this number of PhD students that come from abroad. That means that we have the responsibility to also to deal with them and to provide them the right education that we want to. So I would say that these were the conditions that somehow give us the picture when we start designing the doctoral school. And what we thought was, in first place, we don't want the PhD students to be a little bit closed inside their own scientific domain. We would like them to have the possibility to share their knowledge and their experiences with other colleagues from other fields. That was one of the reasons that we thought it would be important. And the second one was, for us it was important that the students have a better perception of the university as a whole, and has also the ability to know what is going on in other places, know the facilities, know they can even use equipment in other places, and get a completely different feeling of the university. Okay? So this somehow justifies the why, the what, for, and the how. Well, not the how I'll show you. If you really want to know a little bit more about the doctoral school, you can easily find your information here. The site is rather complete and is updated almost every day because we have courses going on on a very frequent basis. So I really advise you to go. We have a double site, which means we have a site in Portuguese and a site in English. I'll explain you later why, but we always have used the two languages as working languages in the school, the Portuguese and the English. Now, the why and the what for. Actually, there were things that we really wanted to motivate people to look at. I mean, we think that if you are a PhD student, somehow we have to encourage your curiosity and your risk-taking. Of course, it has to be a controlled risk-taking, as in most things in life, but you have to do it. It is important that you don't have a completely linear thinking in our way of working, so non-linear approaches are very interesting, and we should promote that. And networking is essential. And most people say, okay, you do networking when you start working. It's wrong. You should do networking when you are studying. That's the best place to start doing it. It's at university. And I'll also learn how to do it. So I use this picture a lot because I like it a lot. I mean, and what was somehow this summarizes everything about the doctoral school. Summarizes what? Because you have some risk-taking here, of course, a controlled risk-taking. Sometimes to solve a problem, you have to really look to it upside down, so you have to have this non-linear thinking. And at the end, you see, you have really to network. So this summarizes the most important things of the school, actually. Now, when we decided to go for it, we decided to have a very light structure. So the doctoral school has not a building. There is not a building of the doctoral school. There is not a staff that has a fixed contract with the university. It's not an organic unit of the university. It's a very light structure. And what we have actually is a graduate school committee, which is composed by one professor or researcher from each one of the faculties of the university. That's it. And together with that, we have a committee of PhD students. So we have two bodies. I would say one official body, which is the body that is composed by these professors, and one non-official body, because the students are not elected. The students are proposed to come and give their ideas, their input to the school. So these are the only two structures that we have in place. And what these two structures do, they do very simple things. They somehow look to what has been proposed in terms of training courses, and they look to them, they review them, and they figure out if the certain proposal for a training course makes sense or not, if it should be modified or not. These committees, they put together quality assurance instruments. That means that every course that we run, the students provide at the end a quality assessment of the course they've taken, so they express their own opinion about it. So we have all the instruments for quality assurance. And we have a code of good practice for supervisors and for students. And that, for the first time, we organize one for the whole university, so which is available for everyone. So what kind of activities do you have? We started very recently. We started 1.5 years ago. We started in January 2013. This was really the starting date of the doctoral school. And from that point on, the first thing that we started organizing was transferable skills training courses for PhD students. It was the first initiative. I'll go into more detail on that a little bit later on, but this was the first initiative. On the second year, we added to this initiative something different. We had also a supervisors training program, so academic staff development. And this started well, it was planned since the beginning of this year, but the first editions took place earlier this month in June. It was on the 1st and the 2nd of June. And we have also a non-academic staff development project. Actually, this is a European project where NOVA participates with other universities from Europe. And the idea is to exchange experience of non-academic staff that is involved on higher education. We are also involved on special events. Some of them have not yet started. We'll have a program of what we call Science Café. The name in Portuguese is even more fun because it's Café com Ciência. It will start now in September 2014. We have thematic seminars. In 2013 we have one on the cities of the future - desertification. In 2014 we have one on bio-based economy, societal challenges and impact. And we have a series of conferences that run in the frame of the doctoral school. We have to be very careful with language issues because it's easy to understand, because we are in Portugal. We welcome PhD students that came to study to Portugal because they wanted to study in Portuguese. If you have Brazilian students coming here or students coming from African countries that are Portuguese-speaking countries, they come to Portugal because they expect to have an education in Portuguese. But on the other hand, we have a significant number of other students that come from other countries in Europe or Asia or so, and so we have to provide them also the possibility to attend our courses. So what we do is an inclusive policy. What we do is that all the courses use materials that are in English, so the materials are always in English. And the courses, they are given in English if there is one student that cannot speak Portuguese, but if every student can speak Portuguese, then the courses are given in Portuguese. In that way, we try to be as inclusive as possible. Okay, so it has been working nicely like that. But I should tell you that we have to be careful with this, because in some areas, like for instance the law school or the humanities, they were very concerned with this issue, and we have to deal with it very carefully. That's why if you look, we have our site in Portuguese, our site in English, and they have to take always this care. This is, well, probably you cannot read, it's too small, but just to show you the workshop that we organized last year on Cities of the Future, desertification. It was an interesting workshop because it involved the 9 schools from the university, and we have attendance of students from the 9 schools, which was, we were discussing issues that could be very transversal. So one of the concerns of the doctoral school is really to be transversal and try to approach people with different knowledges, discussing issues of common interest. Now, just see if I can close this. So, oops. Close this. Okay, just to tell a little bit more about our transfer skills training and how it works. Our transfer skills training has a very simple approach. The very first principle is voluntary. So, if a student is not interested to take transferable skills courses from the doctoral school by itself does not force anyone. If for some reason the doctoral program or the doctoral program scientific committee decides that the student should do the courses, that's great, but that's an internal policy of the program, not of the school. So for us, all students that come to us for these sensorial skills, they come in a voluntary basis because they are interested too. And that's a very important principle. It's a principle of I'm going there because I'm interested on that. The second thing, the courses are free of charge, although registration is required. And the student has to say that his supervisor agrees that he's following that specific course. I don't need a declaration. The student, when he is registering electronically, just ticks a box and says, my supervisor agrees that you're coming to this course. So it's a very simple procedure. I told you the courses are in English, and in some specific occasions we announce courses in Portuguese. So it happens that for some specific situations we have already announced some courses in Portuguese. In that case, we are suggesting foreign students not to come. All students are evaluated, so the students are graded, and so SCTS, and so the credits are accounted for, and they can be accounted in the PhD program, or if it is not possible to count them in the PhD program, they are counted in the supplement to the diploma. Now, what we are mostly interested is that the classes integrate students from the diverse scientific background. So it's extremely interesting. We have classes where we have students from the engineering school, with students from the business school, students from the medical school, students from business, from the law school. That's this mix that we think it's the kind of mix that we have been having so far. The other thing is that we allow people from companies to come to these classes. It's a very limited number of positions that we open. I'll tell you later on also why, because we have a major company, it's a company that is funding this program, and so we allow them to bring 1 or 2 persons to the courses. We feel that it's not an imposition, but it's something that can be of interest, because I think that for a PhD student can be interesting if he has someone already working, it's already in the working market, and can bring some different experience to the program. And of course, the courses take place in the different campi of Nova. So we have courses all around. And that's important, because I think when I was doing my PhD, I had no idea what was going on in terms of the university. So I think it's important that the students have this broad view of the university. So in 2013, we launched 6 courses. One is called the Research Skills Development course. This was done in collaboration with the Imperial College London. So actually they were the ones that started this kind of course at Imperial, and we had a collaboration with them, and we somehow imported their model here, and of course we adapted to our needs. This is a residential course. That means it doesn't take place in a campus of the university. It takes place outside the university. Actually, it takes place not far away from here, in an area which is a natural reserve, in a beautiful place, in a monastery with a beautiful view over the ocean. So it's really a nice location. I hope that some of the students have already been there. It's a fantastic place to go. And the students stay there for 3 days. We have a course on information literacy, so everything that is related with data mining and so. This course of information literacy is provided by our own librarians. We have a very good a number of librarians that are very, very skilled, and they really give good training to the students. We have a course on science communication. It has been a huge success since the beginning. The science communication course has components of written communication, oral communication, and communication with the media. And so we have a theater actor also giving some support to the students. We have a journalist that helps them in terms of how to interact with the media and so on. We have a course on research ethics, which has been extremely well evaluated by the students, although the number of students that is registering in this course are relatively small. I'm a bit sorry about it, because I think that most people think, okay, I usually proceed in a very ethical way, so why to go there? But I believe we should try to promote more the course. We have a very interesting course on intellectual property, which is given by 2 professors from the law school, and we have a course on entrepreneurship and innovation given by a professor from the business school and also a professor from here from the engineering school. So we have this double, let's say, approach to the problems. So these were the courses that were in place last year. This year we slightly readapt what we have as an offer, and what we readapt was the The entrepreneur course was slightly changed. Now it's called From Idea to Business. It's a more direct course because the students really wanted to have something that could be more direct for them. So we have this one, From Idea to Business. We have a huge success here. Design thinking is always sold out. So we have already had the 3 editions this year, all of them sold out. We have a course on visual communication and a course, a very interesting one on social media for scientists. And some of these courses now we are open already also to people that already hold a PhD, because for this one, for instance, we are allowing people already with a PhD, like postdocs, and so also to do them. And actually we are considering some of these courses to also open them to our young postdocs to come. And I think that in terms of the class also that creates a nice environment. Just to give you an idea, I have the figures here for 2013. In 2013, we have more than 300 students involved. I think it's a good figure if you think this was the launching year of the school. And you see that FCT has a very significant contribution here. It also makes sense because you have 8,000 in 19,000 students, so it makes sense. Then the Faculty of Social Science and Humanities. But you see, all schools had students involved, all of them. Okay? So everyone has been participating. It's also interesting to see how the students evaluate the teaching staff, and you see the dark green, it means completely agree, and this thing, it's about stimulating my thinking and my interest in the subject, answer questions, and provide full explanation. So this really tells you how the students feel the things have been going. This is completely agree, this is agree. Okay, so we don't have any disagreements here, which somehow gives you the impression that the students have from the quality of the courses. And here, even probably more interesting is, again, the dark green means that they completely agree, and here the green. And you see, the only area where we have some pink and red is the length of the curriculum unit was adequate. Actually, the students want curriculum units longer. And we decided that the curriculum units that we are offering are always shorter than 3 days, so you have between 2 and 3 days. In some cases, the students felt they needed more. But this was an option because we didn't want to move away the students from the supervisors. Otherwise, you'll have the supervisors complaining and saying that they were missing the students. So we decided that courses longer than 3 days, we should avoid it. So that this was the major criticism, because otherwise, this has been really working very nicely. This year, as I mentioned we started also the courses for supervisors. We had the first edition. The courses for supervisors are 2 days. In these 2 days, what we have, the first day is focused on the supervising role and coaching of students, ethical issues also on the first day, and on the second day is focused on information literacy and intellectual property. And we want to give to the supervisors the same kind of background that their students already have. So otherwise, supervisors will have a problem in the future. I should show you that we have 3 major partnerships. The partnerships are with Imperial College, because we have this entrance course, the Research Skills Development course. We are planning to organize also with a course which would be the last course that the students done on the last year of the PhD. The course that Imperial has developed is called FUMO, and FUMO means moving forward, and so it's for final year students. We have a partnership with Fundação Oriente because it's the foundation that allows us to use the monastery in the reserve area that I mentioned to you. It's a beautiful location to go there. Of course, we have to pay for it, but we have special conditions to go there. And we have a very interesting collaboration with the bank, because of course the school has costs, but the students don't pay for it. So we have financial support from this bank and this bank. They believe that this is, in Portugal, this is really, I would say, a completely different initiative if you look to the doctoral schools in other universities. I'm very proud of what they have done here. Okay, and I would finalize just to show you. This is the monastery. I just brought this one because this was the first edition of the Research Skills Development course. It was taken in March last year. So this is the forest area, so we are totally isolated there. So the students go there, they should not leave from the place. They are completely isolated there, and they are locked there, okay? Also, they sign a compromise, or at least they compromise themselves not to tell outside what they've been doing there. It's a complete secret, yes? Am I right? Okay. So you see, we have a number of people that are tutors there that are providing the course. The course is very much about, you know, group dynamics and even for the student to exploit a little bit the way he is programming and designing his PhD work and so. And you see we have a number of tutors and students. Usually we have numbers of students around 25 or lower. We don't have to have more. We have accommodation places up to 30, but we try to have a little bit smaller groups. And this has been really a success, I believe, but other courses also. Science communication has been a huge success. Design thinking is a huge success. Social media for scientists also. I'm a bit sorry that two courses that are extremely high evaluated, if I showed evaluations, for instance, of the course on research ethics and on intellectual property, they have extremely high evaluations, but the number of students that is registered there is relatively small. So I also take this opportunity to tell you, you should have a look to that, because they are really well done, very well prepared, and very good, tutors there. Actually, all the courses are very much hands-on. We don't have courses that are recitative, where people go and say this is this or that, and then give things to do. No, it's always based on case discussion and so. I had the chance to listen partially to one on the intellectual property, and intellectual property is case discussion. So if I can a little bit convince you to diversify your choices, because the choices are very much concentrated on those, I would recommend. But this is it. This is basically what we have been doing. We are proud of it, but we want to do better. This year we are offering 9 different courses. We are not going to increase this number a lot. Of course, we are working with our committee of PhD students. They are advising us in what they would like to have and what they don't like to have. Actually, they have been very important on that. So I'm sure that we will have probably a course on leadership next year or so, something like that. But I believe that we are going to stabilize the number of offer around 12 courses or so, not much more. Just to let you know, this year, so we are in June, the number of students that we have up to now is already equal as the number of students we have last year for the whole year. So I think the students are really reacting. We are sending to the students a newsletter every month, just 1 email per month, because we don't want to overload you with emails. If some of you do not receive the newsletter, just let us know, because we want to reach all of you. And of course, the newsletter announces what is going on the next 2 months, on the 2 months ahead. And it announces what is going on in terms of training courses, but also conferences, and also the cafe with science that we'll have in the future. And let's see. Okay, so basically that is what I would like to share with you. And well, thank you so much for listening to me. I mentioned a bit. I can give more detail. What we thought was we have been interacting with the students, but not much with the supervisors, and we thought it would be interesting also to interact with them. So what we propose is also something similar in the sense that is volunteer and is also free of charge. And what we want to do with them is, in first place, look to the process of supervising and the process of coaching a student. So the first part of the course is completely focused on that. And for that, we invited the professor that has his own experience here to a little bit promote the discussion on the supervision process and on the coaching. We have been working with the professor, Miguel Xavier, from the medical school, and I believe it does the role extremely well. So we had the first edition of this course in June. It was the 1st and the 2nd of June. It was completely sold out. So we are planning 2 other courses for supervisors before the end of the year, probably late September, October, and then November. So you'll have 2 still, not before the summer, but after the summer. And besides the coaching process, the issues that we thought would be more interesting to discuss with them, and these were the ones that were included in the program, was issues on ethics, on literacy, data information literacy, and on intellectual property. Because I think that for supervisor it can be extremely important to know when it makes sense to protect the work and how to protect it and how should we do it. And as we are offering these to the students, we decide also to offer these to the supervisors. Now, the course to the supervisors is only 2 days, so these subjects are a little bit condensed. But what we are planning in the future is also to open to supervisors the possibility to attend some extended courses. So this will be a little bit just to get the flavor, to get introduced to the subjects, and we'll in the future to also go to more extended courses and do them. But this possibility of training a supervisor is something that we are going to take very seriously, and we want to extend it. Of course, it will also depend on the reaction of the supervisors. Up to now, we are happy because the course had more candidates than places available. But that's one thing that we want to do. But of course, our priority are the students. So we have to balance because we are using minimal resources. So for the operation of the complete school, we just hired one person. We are more than one, but what we have done was we reallocated internal resources and just hired one person. So we are a very small team working on this.
Any other comments? I have just a quick comment or a quick question. So you mentioned at a certain stage that students somehow disagree as far as the length of the courses are concerned. So the question is, so they would, of course, prefer extending these for another week or 2 weeks, or is that because of they stay in the monastery and what's your general opinion?
Yeah, maybe they found they have a different vocation, I don't know, but no, the perception I have is that, of course, some of the courses you could easily go more in depth and you could easily provide a deeper insight into the subject. I'm sure about it. And what I understand that some of the students feel that they could profit if the course could be have a different length. And this is true for many of the courses. We got those comments on a very regular basis, even for the ethics, the ethics course, the intellectual property, and so not only what is going on in terms of the residential course. But still our problem in our balance is, I mean, if I say to a student, this course takes 1 week or 2 weeks, I think the supervisor will be very much concerned. And I think we have to find a balance between what is reasonable for the student and what is reasonable for the supervisor. Otherwise, I think I would start receiving emails from supervisors saying, what are you doing? You are taking our students away. So we are trying to get a balance. And still I think, in the beginning we had one course of 1 day or so, and said 1 day is really short. So now all the courses take between 2 and 3. We have 2, 2.5, and 3. We have courses no longer than 3, and I think we are going to stick with that. Unless we have a very special situation where... One thing that we are doing, and just I conclude with that, one thing that we are doing is, for instance, a course of 3 days, but the 3 days are not consecutive, so the student can do work in between. We have done that with the entrepreneurial course, so the students have 1 day, then they have 1 week to work, then they have 1 day, 1 week to work, and we can do it like that. But on the total, it involves 3 days of course.
Well, I guess we have to keep on time, so I would like to thank our speakers.
Thank you so much.